does the RH negative, say it again?
The RH negative bloodline.
Rob! Rob! Hey Rob, come on up here, help us out. Come on. Give Rob a hand. Come all the way from Texas. Come on. I don't even know what he's talking about. Help me out, Rob.
Come on. We're not buying that one. You're just being gracious.
No, I'm not kidding, Gary.
That question comes up a lot regarding the subject of the Nephilim. I did address it in my book, Archon Invasion. I wrote about it in a few pages. It's been a while since I looked at that research, so forgive me if I don't remember it all, but I can show it to you afterwards. Yeah, it is my belief that it was introduced into the human race by the angel copulation with women, yes. That's my belief. Now, does that mean that if you are Rh negative, you are damned or cursed or anything like that? No, I do not believe that at all. I do not believe that.
Some people out there worrying, huh?
Well, I mean, we've all got friends or family or somebody that we know that has Rh negative. It's not about your blood type. It's about the condition of your heart, whether or not you're repentant, as to, whether or not you can be redeemed. So, if you're Rh negative, don't be freaking out. Don't, the way I look at it is like this. Look, a fallen angel, if we can use the term genetic,
I'll be right back.
genetically speaking, is no different than a regular angel. They just rebelled. Right? So if it's a genetic issue, then it came from, if it's an angelic genetic issue, then it has nothing to do with their act of rebellion. It's just their genetics. Does that make sense? Is that clear? I don't know. It's clear as mud. Okay. Gary's got something.
Obviously a question that gets asked a lot about the Rh negative bloodline, and as what David was saying is if you follow the Nephilim kingship dynasties through history and even up to today's age, and they keep their genealogies that go back into the mists of time. And I'm talking about the ennobled pureblood families, and you see some of that in the kingships that might still be around today, the dynasties, whether it's the Windsor Hanoverian dynasty, that would be one example. So they have this habit that goes back to the Nephilim of breeding and inbreeding to keep the bloodlines pure, because that sets themselves up as a demigod, right? Back to Nephilim, back to fallen angels, and the right to rule. So it's a very, very, very important doctrine to them. Now, the royals don't permit their blood to be tested all that much, and we don't know whether Rh negative is the smoking gun, but it's certainly a significant possibility, and it was inserted into the bloodstream at a period that doesn't go way back into, beyond prehistory type of thing. There's the relative time frame where they think it was injected, and it's a non-human type of bloodline as the research goes. So something has injected of Rh negative, and many lines of Rh negative are not able to reproduce with any other bloodlines, except for one, which is why they also like to, when they need to bring in OH negative, which is the universal blood that can be combined and used for producing offspring when necessary, right? And to and maybe keep some of the disease out of the inbreeding. So the blood is also related to Vril, and if you've followed any of the Vril, it was part of the Nazi concept of something in the blood that goes back to the Aryans, back to Thule, back to antediluvian times and the giants, where somehow either in backwards engineering, and Rob and I were talking about this a little bit last night, that they're trying to find that connection to create the superhuman. In the meantime, they disguise it as regular genetics or inbreeding again to try and get that blonde hair, blue-eyed, pale-skinned Aryan giant, because there was two different sort of colors and skin eye colors of that period. So that's where that comes in. But also follow the theology of something else, and it's something that they take out of the word Genesis, and as the root for Genesis, that's called the gene of Isis. And they believe that the descendants, and certainly with the purebloods, they have what they call the gene of Isis. And you might hear that in Masonic speeches, like George Bush was classic for this one. Many people knew what he was referring to when he talked about 1,000 points of light, right? That's the spark of the divine in their belief system. That's the gene of Isis. And of course, Isis is one of those goddesses that helped create in the Egyptian pantheon the Ozil, or the Nephilim before that, right? So this goes right back. So that would be either the gene of Gaia, you could use it there, or you could use it as the gene of Ishtar, or Astarte, or Inanna. Pick whichever mother goddess you want, because they're all the same in the pantheon. They just have different vernacular names. And all of a sudden, some of these pieces start to come together. So something in the DNA, something in the blood, there's something there. They keep that alive for a reason, right? So it's important. So there's a connection there.
I would just add one more thing. And again, it's been a while since I looked at that research, but I believe it was the D antigen is missing on the red blood cell or something. That's what makes somebody Rh negative. And, you know, with the antigens there to help protect us against sickness and disease and things like that, what would an angel need that for? Don't get freaked out. You know, somebody says, well, it was introduced to the human race by the fallen angels. Again, if we use the term genetic, use that term, fallen angels are just good angels who did rebellious acts.